What's going on, y'all? Welcome to the Insight of Mind podcast. It's your boy Zay. Thank y'all for tuning in yet again for another episode. Y'all always come back to check out what I got going on, and I love y'all for that. You feel me? Before we get into today's episode, I do have a special guest, but let's get to the comment of the day. So shout out to, I can't say that, but this guy, he said, well, I was 13 5 years ago. What could I have did? So I'm gonna answer your question. So I had a post where I was talking about thinking about the past and whatnot. But to answer your question, simply, even though you were 13, there's a lot you could have did. And I hope that you don't go through your life thinking that there's nothing that you could have did. But let me just let you know that I want you to think about the present and what you could do today to further your future. Don't worry about the past. But shout out to you for commenting on the video. Thank you for showing love. If y'all want to be featured on the next segment, just go ahead and drop a comment down below in the video. It's super easy. But let me go ahead and let my guest introduce himself. We got a special guest today. What's your name, my friend?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The name's Ja. You can follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Jmacstackz. So I go by.
Yes, sir, bro. I gotta tell you, I've been peeping the content ever since I followed your page. It's been popping up, and I love everything you talk about, bro. You keep it real, and it's good content, bro. I want you to know that.
Yeah, man. I appreciate it, man. I just try to give everyone the raw reality of, what I'm saying, just life in general, how everyone should just keep a level head and just be down to earth and understand that, hey, there's gonna be obstacles you're gonna face in life, and there's many ways to overcome them. There's always more than one option to go against things. So any problems you may have, there can always be more than one solution. That's what I like to believe in.
For sure, bro. Now let me ask you real quick before we get into today's episode, because I got quite a bit for us to go through. Um, what is a quote that you heard that you live by? Like a quote that you heard one time that just resonated with you and kind of guides you through your life these days.
Well, I have a lot I'd say, but one that I'd say sticks out the most to me is discipline is choosing what you want the most over what you want now. And another one that I would say I like is just fall in love with the process and the results will come, honestly.
That's real. People never talk about the process. I just made a video literally I think yesterday where I said fall in love with the struggle and you become invincible. So that's real. That's
Yeah,
real. Cuz a lot of people
100%.
they'll fail or they'll not get the results that they want and they get frustrated and then they're never able to keep moving forward. But if you could fall in love with the struggle and accept it as part of the process, yeah, man, you'll become invincible for sure.
100%. Everyone's always focusing on the end goal and instead of worrying about what's the present day, what they can do now. So a lot of people that I see online or just in general, they see other people with these things that they want and they want to get there, but they want it so quick. But the thing is, it's a process. Rome wasn't built in one day.
That's facts. Now, going on that, do you feel like in your personal experience, do you think that thinking a lot about your future has negatively or positively impacted you more times?
I would say positively because people my age, they're probably not their mindset isn't where I say my mindset. I say my mindset is a lot more ahead of theirs
Mm-hmm.
because people my age they're probably just well in college, smoking, drinking, partying, doing all of this. But at the end of the day, most people just decide to take their life serious. But by the time they're like 25, 30, so imagine you start at 18, you have like a 7 year gap on everyone else. So by the time people are starting to get it into their respective fields, like their jobs, their careers, you're already ahead, doing what you've always known you can do, and honestly, just pushing forward and aiming for success.
Yeah, you're way ahead of the game. You start because you're right. A lot of people is partying, drinking. Man, I tell you, I can't tell you how many times people look at me and they say, "Man, Zay, you're boring. You don't like to do this, this, and that." I'm like, nothing you just named was fun, bro. Drinking, getting not remember what I did yesterday when I wake up with a bad headache, and you know, one of the main questions I wanted to ask you, I didn't do a lot of preparing. We spent not a lot of time in high school around each other, right? Because I was only there for maybe a year or so, freshman year maybe.
Yeah.
Now, I want you to tell me because I don't know truly. Do you feel like you had the same mindset then as you do now?
Um, I mean, depends on how you look at it. So, I mean, in a way, yes and no. But what I would say, for the most part, definitely, because I've always been that person that's always just been locked in with the grind. So around that time, it was more basketball focused instead of entrepreneurship focused. But it was the same drive, it was the same ambition towards it. So any field that I go into, I'm gonna have that same brutal determination and unmatched consistency. So I'd say yes, 100%. Definitely now that I'm older, I can see that if I don't really lock in now, is really gonna haunt me in the future. So it's
Got you.
more of a pressure now. It's more pressure now than it was then, but I definitely understand that. So that's why I'm just continuing to do what I need to do day in and day out.
So you basically been had the mindset, it just directed in a different place now, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I almost forgot you was hooping back then, bro. I'm not gonna lie, cause
Yeah. It was short lived for a little minute, but it was popping for however
yeah,
long it was.
that's how I
Yeah.
feel. Cause I was hooping like a madman back then. I used to be hooping every day. Nowadays I pop out every once in a while casually, but I don't really take it too serious.
Yeah, I
That's
feel you on that.
that's crazy, bro. You just unlocked a memory for me. But yeah, what do you think was the inspiration behind that? What do you think gave you that push to want to really lock in on what on your future?
Honestly, I've always liked being different from everybody else. Like I wasn't the one that just stay in the same circle as everyone else. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So looking at other people, it's like, okay, if they did this, they're all going on the same exact. They're choosing the same path, right? And there's many different paths to choose, but why choose the one that everyone else is going and it's not the life that I want to live? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So the older you get, the more you start to realize what you really want out of life. You start to figure out more of your purpose. And so as that was going on, I was like, okay, if I want to live this life that I want to live, I'm gonna have to do something that not everybody else is doing. I'm gonna have to put my focus somewhere else and really lock in and put my energy right there instead of comparing it. Instead of just in general just saying, hey, you know what? I'm gonna do what all of my friends are doing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Sure, it can be fun, but it's gonna be short lived because we're not all gonna be young forever.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like you get those experiences where, like for me, whenever I do something like relax, watch some TV, watch some movie, it feels nice. Like I'm not mad at it, but I think the feeling of laying down in my bed at night and reflecting and saying, wow, I really did nothing progressive today. That hurts way more than if I just would have chose to be disciplined earlier in the day. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Basically, yeah. I'm really glad you bring it up because one thing I would say about myself is like a lot of times I do feel like I haven't really done anything productive. Particularly, even if I have, I feel like I just feel like I haven't done enough. So a lot of times when I'm in certain situations, I always think to myself, what is the most productive thing that I could do right now in this current moment? So
Mm-hmm.
I kind of just I'm constantly learning and reevaluating myself. So that's one. That's just something about me that I like to. I'm just a very active person. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
can't just sit down just do nothing for too long because you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
A part of me like there's more to do. There's more that I can conquer. But you kind of get the gist of what I'm saying. Like you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
There's definitely more to do and more things that you can accomplish, and that starts by not being lazy.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
So it just sounds like you have high expectations for what you do, pretty much.
100%, you gotta have high expectations because anyone that didn't have high expectations, well, they didn't really get anywhere. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
If you have a 5 cent dream, well, you're only gonna have that 5 cent dream. But if you have $1 million dream, well, you kind of have to have these higher expectations for yourself to be able to get there, right? Let's
Yeah.
say your dream is to maybe one day work a job that pays 80,000 a year. That's good money for most people, right? But then
Mm-hmm.
if you say, okay, you know what, I want to be a millionaire, you have to take different steps in order to get there. And yeah, it's going to be a different and a harder route. But guess what? You don't know what you're really capable of until you actually do it.
Yeah.
So imagine just limiting yourself to this cage of, I'm going to stay right here, I'm going to make this amount of money, and that's just going to be my life, right?
Mm-hmm.
So looking back at it, I don't want to really regret anything because, well, you're always going to regret something. But what I would say is, if I know I can do something now, and I'm not doing anything later on in the future, is definitely gonna haunt me because I'm gonna wish I wanted to do all these different things. I'm gonna wish that I could have put my energy here. You know what I'm saying? Try to make this work. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, they end up giving up. They'll start something, just give up. You know what I'm saying? They just feel like, okay, maybe that's not for you, maybe that's not for them. Which in some cases that may be true.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, anyone that's ever really truly wanted something, they've got it. Because not only were they persistent, but they're consistently at it every single day. So if you start something, you might as well put your best foot in to try and finish it.
Right. People don't talk about consistency enough, bro. On the internet, they definitely do, but people around me, I think they kind of try to let go of the cliche information, like the information you hear over and over. But I gotta tell them, I'm like, yo, I mean, there's a reason it's said a lot, because that's what's working. And
Yeah.
there was a concept that I stated in a video a while ago that a lot of people don't want to believe that the formula for succeeding is as simple as it is, because they just want to feel sorry for themselves all the time. So if I tell them all you have to do to be successful in the next 5 years is do this, this, and this consistently, they don't want to hear that. They want to believe that it's some crazy scheme that you gotta perform, and like it's hard work. I'm like, no, it's not that complicated.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of people, they kind of want people to feel pity for them because, okay, let's say they just worked a 12-hour shift, and you know what I'm saying, or maybe they just got off their job, they think it's time to unwind, wind down, just chill. No, this is that time that you have off to work. That's not really not necessarily the time to chill. If you have bigger goals and ambitions, that's your time. That's the time that you're gonna use to fund your 5 to 9, right? You're
Mm-hmm.
gonna literally, after you get off work, you should be focusing on what can you do to escape the 9 to 5, right? But your job is to help fund it. So that's really what I believe a job is meant for you to do. Your job should be a tool for something you to use for you to be able to fund it, your dream life. Some people's dream lives is just working that job, but for the people that are always making excuses on how they hate their job, this and that, and they're not doing anything, well, at the end of the day, the only person you could blame is yourself.
That's true. That's true. People don't want to take that accountability, bro. I'm glad you said the job is a tool. I've always looked at it like that for a while, cause I mean I'm sure we've all been at work and been like, man, I want so much more for myself, but you gotta keep the positive mindset. I loved how you said in a video, one of your videos, how you gotta look at the job as just a simple stepping stone to get to the future that you want, and I think that was super real. So that's one of those things I definitely live by. But speaking of tools, I want to ask you what kind of tools you used in your journey and what things have worked and have not worked for you. I'll give you an example, like vision boards, for example, or journaling. What are those tools that you use that have worked or haven't worked?
I would say definitely journaling and writing things down because I feel like if you're writing something down and like for instance like right now I have my notebook. Every day I try to write something new, like a new idea that I might have, is either a new business plan, new content ideas, things like that.
Right.
If you write something down, the chances of you actually accomplishing it goes up tremendously. So that's what I believe is a lot of how do I say it? It's been, I want to say more of a motivator to my success, but it's definitely helped me out like mentally. Like, okay, if I can see it and I could believe it, I could dream it, and I can achieve it. So that's 100% writing down your goals is very important, and also executing them. Like if you could have something written down, like okay, yeah, maybe I have a poster of my dream car, and I just
Mm-hmm.
wake up and look at it. That's is that something that you truly want, or is it something that you just like to have? You know what I'm saying? Like you're not really putting any effort to actually get there one day. So what I like to say is the journey isn't a sprint; it's a marathon. And at the end of the day, when it's your time, it's your time. So a lot of people just don't stay consistent enough to actually get to that.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people do that, bro. They'll put that post up there and they'll stare at it, but it's like you said, you got to put in the work at the end of the day. Like I tell people all the time, anybody who asks me for advice, I ask them, I say, okay, what do you want? They'll name something. Let's just say that car, that fancy car. I tell them, I say, look, do you want it or do you just want to have it? You know what I mean? Some people just want to have it. They don't really want it, because anything that you want, you're gonna find a way to get it. Most people just want to have it. You know what I mean?
100%. Like, for instance, I remember someone was telling me the other day, like, a lot of people say that they can't do something or like they can't have something and they just kind of make excuses for themselves. But this might be a little off topic, but have you ever seen a crackhead that hasn't had money to buy their drugs?
Right, right. Yeah, I was talking about this the other day. Yeah.
At the end of the day, they still figure out a way to get what they want, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, yeah, they could talk about having it, but hey, if if you're not gonna do anything to get it, well, you're just stuck in your own demise.
It's useless. Yeah, I mean, it's completely useless.
Oh,
But something I find really interesting is that like we hear the same things over and over when it comes to self improvement, and people could call it repetitive, but then it's like you gotta realize when you open your eyes that it's repetitive because this is the formula. It's been like this
yeah,
for time and time again. People don't want to understand that there doesn't have to be a million different ways to do things. Sometimes there's a formula that you gotta follow. Now, what career you choose, you know, that's on you and whatever. Real quick though, let's talk friendships, right? We've had like mutual friends and stuff in the past or even
yeah.
currently. Do you ever struggle with this to where somebody says something or complains about their problems, maybe a friend of yours or somebody just around you, and it's like you have to fight with yourself on whether you want to give them a real true answer, you know, based on what you truly believe or what they want to hear? Because sometimes people don't want to hear that. Sometimes people don't want to hear the truth. They just want you to feel sorry for them. How do you handle that?
Honestly, so one thing about my character is I'm always gonna tell you the truth, just straight up and exactly how I'm gonna tell you how it is,
Right.
exactly how it's meant to be, right? And I have a lot of friends that do complain about certain things, and me being that friend that's always gonna try to, what I'm saying, give my best piece of advice, give my best piece of information that I could do to help you. And a lot of times I find that I do give pretty good advice to people and actually advice that actually works to help them in their situation. But then again, it's like they do nothing with the information. Like you could give someone the
Oh yeah.
exact blueprint you could give a horse water. It's up to the horse if they want to drink it or not. You know what I'm saying? So like you give them exactly what they want, exactly what they need, but it's up to them. You can't at the end of the day you can't help someone that doesn't truly want to be helped. They can only talk about it, right?
Right, that's facts, bro. They do not want to take that advice sometimes.
Hmm.
I don't know. I feel like it's simple to me because whenever people give me advice, I rarely ever ask for advice. I'm kind of one of those people that like to just go at things and find out the hard way. But if there's a area in my life where I feel like I do need advice, I accept it with open arms. I mean, tell me what you think is best, you know?
100%. Information is key. And a lot of people they I think they misinterpret that. Like they feel like there's so much that they need to know, or like they're just waiting for this right piece of information to just fall in their lap and just change everything. But at the end of the day, most things are really just simple. You just have to follow it.
Yeah. People make things complicated on their own. But let's get into the gem dropper segment. So you never heard, I don't know if you heard this before, but on my podcast, I do a thing called Gem Dropper. Any of my supporters, any people that watch the videos, they can DM me or send me a message asking for some advice. So I'm super glad you're here so we can both give some advice to this guy.
100%.
So let's see what's going on. He says, Zay, what's up? I've been watching since the graduation video and your advice is helping me get through high school much better. I really want a girlfriend, but I'm worried of that I would lose focus on my grind and I don't want that. Also, my heart might get broken and I get depressed or something and still lose focus. What would you do if this was you? Great question, bro. Shout out to you. If y'all want to be featured on the next segment of Gem Dropper, all you gotta do is send a message to my DM. Links will be in the description down below. You will remain completely anonymous. But let's go ahead and answer this guy's question. So what do you think about that?
A girlfriend in high school, huh?
Yeah, a lot of people want the
Honestly,
girlfriend, man.
yeah. Hey, I'm sure I went through my fair share how that can be like, definitely. But what I would say for his situation is if you're truly locked in about your grind and what you wanna do and you wanna keep on being focused, it really just depends on who the person is. Because for example, you can get a girlfriend and try to focus on two things at once, but majority of the time, one of them is gonna fail.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so you have to choose one of them, right? And that's actually what I when I after I graduated, I actually ended up doing that in my own. I was in the same position that he was in. Actually, I had to choose.
Wow.
It was a pretty tough decision, but at the end of the day, I know that this was for my future, and this is for me not only helping out myself and helping out the people around me. At the end of the day, girls are gonna come and go. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Once you find the right one, the right one will come. Now, if you do happen to find the right one, well, it's just gonna 2x your income. Like it's gonna 2x what you want to do. Then not only are you gonna have someone super close to you that's supporting you and helping you out, but both aspects of what you're looking at are just gonna increase. So
For sure.
at the end of the day, you are. I would say experience what you can when you can. So I would say if you're the situation that you're in right now, you're in high school. That's probably the time that most people are gonna be getting girlfriends and experiencing these type of things. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say you just have to look at what your goals are and see how they align with it. If this is something that you could take on right now, then I'd say go ahead and do it. But if you know that you have a lot of distractions and just kind of throwing off your focus, then I'd say don't put yourself in that position, because if you do get the girlfriend and you do end up getting depressed, that's just gonna throw you off on a whole different scale. So I would say try to minimize risk, but at the same time try to have fun, but make sure you don't forget the task at hand.
For sure. I could have said it better myself, but that was a great response. And you got somebody who actually said that they were in this same sticky situation. So look, take that as you may. Let me give my little piece of advice. Let's go to this first part real quick. I want a girlfriend. I've never liked that statement, and let me tell you why I don't like that statement. Whenever you say something like I want a girlfriend, you're searching for something and you're trying to seek something that isn't meant to be seeked, in my opinion, right? To me, when it comes to a good relationship, they come more naturally. Maybe you meet someone, you have common interests, you get along well, boom, girlfriend. It's not I want a girlfriend, because when you do that, then you start settling sometimes. You start taking what you can get rather than,
Yeah.
taking what's good. So I once heard a wise man in the book Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. He said that successful people don't think I want this or I want that. They say to themselves, how can I have both? So if you want to stay focused on the grind and you want to have a girlfriend, then you need to set some boundaries. What are you willing to accept and what are you not willing to accept in a woman? You need to find a woman that understands that you are in grind mode, understands that you can't give her full attention at all times, understands that you can't have her stressing you out in these things, and you find a woman, or hopefully you come across a woman that has these traits that work with what you're already working towards. See, a lot of people are afraid to set boundaries for themselves because they just they're too desperate. Oh, I want a woman, I want a woman. You're too desperate, rather than making sure that the woman that's coming into your life benefits you as well as you benefit her. Understand? Because assuming that you're a person that's focused on your grind, a woman is going to benefit a lot from that. A whole lot. Because you can leave mindset with a woman. You could change the way a woman thinks about life and herself. You can be financially successful, and that benefits the woman that you're with. There's a lot of benefits that women get from a man with a strong mind. So you got to make sure that you're getting those same benefits as she's getting. I hope that answers your question. And for the last piece of advice, final decision. The good thing is, like I said, you can find a way to have both. If you find a woman and y'all get to vibing and you spend some time with her, if you notice yourself getting away from the grind, you got to catch yourself immediately, lock in your boundaries, and if she's not willing to accept your boundaries, then unfortunately the relationship must end. You got to be strong and you got to make the right decision. I hope that answers your question. Thank you for dropping it for this segment. I appreciate you. Hope that answers bro's question pretty well.
Man, I loved everything that you just said, man. I loved everything.
Gotta keep it real. Gotta go deep for bro. It's real deep. Hopefully he takes the advice. I had a few people DM me and then hit me back up with the same problem a week later. So it's like, if you're not,
got some real game right there.
Oh yeah. We drop game all day, every day. So look,
It's up to them if they want to take it or not. My bad.
No, you good. Don't ever apologize, bro. We chilling. Look, so on your page, I noticed a common theme. You love the gym.
100%. I go every day.
Let's talk about that love for the gym, man. Let's go deep into what that means to you.
Honestly, the gym is I started going to the gym. It's been, I'd say in November it's gonna be 2 years of me going to the gym consistently. but it
Okay.
kind of started from, I want to say, I've been fat and I've been skinny,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I know what I look like when I'm skinny. I know what I look like when I'm fat. At the same time, that drive to really get in shape kind of started, I want to say, around, this was kind of after I stopped really playing basketball like that. That was, I want to say, transitioning going into my junior year.
Okay.
So I wasn't really playing basketball as much. I had transferred schools at the time. So I would say like, damn, basketball is my whole hobby. You know what I'm saying? I do this all, like, basketball was my main focus. Like I used to just play basketball every single day. And then one day just boom, you know, you're not doing something that you have a set routine, because you know what I'm saying, habits are built within 21 days and routines are built within 30 to 60 days. So doing
Mm-hmm.
something that I was doing for almost for years, literally for years. I'm like, okay, what can I replace this? What can I do that's gonna be as productive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what? Sometimes you just gotta look at yourself in the mirror, like, okay, how can I be the best version of myself? So what I did was I started going to the gym. I started trying to be more consistent. I was like, okay, you know what? I know exactly how I can look better and feel better and just have more confidence. So, and I feel like the gym not only does it help you physically, helps you mentally. Like it definitely built us a stronger mental fortitude. And what I would say, it definitely taught me to be patient. You could go to the gym for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, and not see barely any progress.
All right.
But what the gym teaches you, that if you want to see something, you have to be consistent at it for a long period of amount of time. And it's like, okay, this is gonna take a while, but I'm getting 1% better every single day. And so that's why I love going to the gym, because I know that every time that I go, I'm getting better every single day. I'm improving myself day in and day out. So I'm one of those people, like, I kind of have to force myself to take a rest day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's sometimes like you, I don't even think I took a rest day this week so far, and I'm going again today. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, and for a lot of people, like I see them, they'll go to the gym for maybe like they'll go to the gym maybe like a week, 2 week, and it's just like, yeah, I did something a little productive, or maybe it's like to them it could be seasonal, you know,
Yeah.
or they just want to they want to work out just for the summer, or maybe they have like an event coming up, they want to work out, they want to, you know what I'm saying, try to get a little fit, maybe drop a few pounds or whatnot. What I think, I don't really believe in the whole winter arc thing, because I feel
Yeah.
like, why do you need to just lock in for those 4 months? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It should be a 365 thing. You should be locked in the entire year round. You know what I'm saying? You
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't have to wait until a certain amount of time where you want to get in shape, get your stuff together. You should be on that page the entire time, so you don't have to, you know what I'm saying, push yourself to really get ready for those type of things. Like, let me rephrase that. You should be in a position where you don't have to rush yourself into doing certain things. And if you're gonna give yourself a deadline, make sure it's actually a reasonable deadline. Because a lot of people say they want things by a certain amount of time, and looking at their circumstances, it's not necessarily, I want to say it's impossible, but they make it impossible for themselves.
Right. It put a lot of
So
pressure.
yeah, they put a lot of pressure on themselves, and a lot of people crack under pressure. And some people, if that's where diamonds are created, under pressure. So for me, I know what this is me. A lot of time when I'm under pressure, I tend to perform better. Well,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that stems from having a very strong mind. You know what I'm saying? It's like knowing that at the end of the day, it's all on me. I'm gonna always put my best foot forward and perform at the utmost best.
Mm-hmm.
So the gym has just really been that thing where, okay, I know that I can always constantly improve, and it's up to me every day. Like no one's gonna motivate me every single day that to go to the gym, because at the end of the day, motivation gets you started, but it's discipline that keeps you there. Some
Right.
people could be motivated to go for just the summer, but it's the people that stay after the summer are the real people that actually want to see change.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
I like that you said that you actually work better under pressure. That's a good thing. I feel like most people who have worked hard on establishing a good mindset would probably agree with you that they work better when their back is against the wall. But why do you think that is?
Honestly, I would say knowing that it's all up to you, because there's no one coming to save you.
Mm-hmm.
If this does not happen, the ball is literally in your court, and it's up to you to make sure that that basket goes in, and there's nothing stopping you. So your offense has to be extremely great to beat that defense. So I'm about to bring the basketball terms in, but you know, that's just
Oh
kind of a way that I
no.
like to explain it.
Anybody on this channel knows we've been using basketball terms since day one. That's my favorite way to explain anything, bro. It's
Yeah,
goaded. A lot of principles in basketball can perfectly explain life. It's actually beautiful.
yeah.
Seriously. I love it so much.
So
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, that's one of the reasons why I feel like, you know, a lot of people a lot of people that they perform like very good under pressure. It's just knowing that it's all up to you. If your back's against the wall, the only thing you can do is succeed, right? You can
Exactly.
fail, but the only thing that should be on your mind is winning and achieving what you're set out to do.
You said that very well. You have to succeed. I'm gonna get a little scientific on this one too. So I'm sure you've heard like the survival instinct that your mind has, right? Why our mind tries to keep us the same rather than allowing us to progress.
Yeah.
So I did a little study. I was like, that's literally the way we can use this to our advantage, because if that's the case, that means that if I put myself in a terrifying position, right? Let's just use approaching a woman as an example. People are scared to approach a woman. If I just walk up to her and say, hey, now I'm in a position that I can't back out of. So now my mind has to
Mhm.
use that survival instinct to help me in this scenario. I'm forced, my back is against the wall, and now I have to perform. So you can kind of flip it and use it to your advantage. That's why I think people who learn more about their mind can perform better under pressure. Cause it's like you said, you have to win. There is no other option. A starving man is gonna find a way to get a meal. So
Mhm.
very well said. Real quick, I do think every not every man, but maybe most men have some kind of long story attached to the gym of why they love it so much. I want to talk a little bit about mine. I know you just talked a lot about gym, but maybe if there's a story that you have, I would love to hear it if you're willing to share. But real quick, for me, um, I moved to South Carolina, right? I used to live in Florida. I moved to South Carolina, and I was a mess, bro. I was depressed. I was angry at the world, at everything. I was so upset that I was here. And long story short, the gym became a big escape for me, bro. Just being able to go to the gym and pump, just bench press, pump out iron, push-ups. I did a lot of calisthenics, and it just gave me something to put my energy towards that was actually positive. And I ended up getting reaping the benefits of it, by being consistent. But it was because I wasn't attached to the outcome of the gym. I loved what it did for me mentally and allowing me to get my emotions out, that I almost didn't even care about the results of the gym. I just loved the process of going so much. Next thing you know, I opened my eyes and I got muscles I never knew was even a thing. So that was crazy for me. And then later on in my life, again, the gym has always been a big escape for me. But if you have a story about the gym that like really got you deep into it, I would love to hear it.
Um, Honestly, I would say just remembering how I looked before I got into the gym. So like I would say when I first started going, I was more focused on the whole outcome aspect of it. But the longer I went, I kind of just forgot about the whole outcome aspect. And I just fell in love with that process of just going in and just I feel like it did give my mind an escape as well because
Mm-hmm.
it's like and plus you could really push it. I like to push my limits a lot. I wanted to see like where I was at and how much I could actually or where I could actually get to with this because one thing about the body is you can only know how much you're truly capable of until you actually put yourself in that position. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people they end up finding things about themselves that they didn't even know were possible before because they never even try to put themselves in those type of circumstances, right?
Right.
There's some people that shoot their first day in the gym, they could just bench 225 naturally, and that while that's pretty crazy for your first day, but hey, that's actually a real thing with some people. Like yo, they've had this strength this entire time. You know what I'm saying? So one thing the gym has taught me is to never hold back. Always put your best foot forward and just keep pushing your limits, and you're always gonna see even more growth. So as strong as I feel now, I know that I can be stronger. I can look better, and I could just become better person overall. You know what I'm saying? The whole goal is to just get better every single day. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Constant improvement.
Right. Right.
It's like I actually got that. I don't know if you heard of Kaizen. It's a Japanese. It's like a Japanese quote. It's called Kaizen. Is 1% better every day and constant improvement.
Mm-hmm. This is our first time talking in what 3 years, like
Yeah, about 3 years.
physically, probably like 3 years. I gotta say, I gotta give you flowers, bro. You speak very well, and that's um a very overlooked trait. You speak very well, bro. You articulate very well. You have no trouble getting your ideas out. How do you think that developed? Do you think you always had that skill? Do you think that developed over time?
I feel like it did kind of, like, one thing about me is I noticed that I like to think a lot in my brain. Like I think to myself a lot. Like any problem that I see myself in or any problem that I get into, my brain, I'll have so many different ways to solve it. Like I'm just constantly just talking to myself in my brain. Right. Nah, not saying that that's crazy or anything, but I
Right.
feel like that's actually, I think that's a healthy trait to have. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Having like that type of perspective. You know what I'm saying? I've always had like a pretty wide perspective, like, and a growth mindset to things. So I feel like that's kind of the whole reason I started my Jmacstackz clips page. Is
Mm-hmm.
like I have all this knowledge and I'm constantly giving this knowledge to people around me, and I find myself always giving really good advice. And like, I feel like just the knowledge that I have, like, it just comes from within. Like I just know. You know what I'm saying? I can't
Yeah.
really just. It's not like anyone just specifically taught it to me, but you know, different circumstances that you come across in life, you learn certain things from it. It might not be because of what someone said, but because of how you perceive something, and you kind of just learn that in your brain. And like, okay, you can put this somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? Like, you ever see someone that just is constantly mad and they're just constantly, I don't know, crashing out or whatnot?
Yeah.
With that anger, you can put that into something productive. You know what I'm saying? For example, trading, for example. Well, a lot of people with trading, not to get off topic, but it's still on topic. But
Right.
if you lose a trade, what's the first thing that you want to do? You want to jump back into those markets. You want to make the money back that you just lost, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, they call that revenge trading. So instead, what I like to do is I like to take a step back. I'm like, okay, why did I lose this trade? What did I do wrong? I like to, you know what I'm saying, just journal everything, because at the end of the day, if you're writing your mistakes down, you're gonna find ways to have solutions to your problems, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, any, I don't believe in the whole practice makes perfect. I believe practice makes improvement, because no one's perfect, but you can always improve.
Right.
So, to get more back onto the topic, I would say the way I talk now, I feel like I've always, like, in my brain, I've talked like this, but I don't normally. I've only recently started kind of giving my mindset and just spreading my knowledge to the world. And I feel like now that I'm starting to do it more, I feel like it's more of my purpose now. You know what I'm saying? Because I
Yeah.
notice a lot of people don't, they don't speak in the way that I speak. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I have a certain thought or imagination, I can execute it and tell people exactly how it is, super really really well, for them to understand. Like, I break down things super good for people to understand, and it's very useful. You know what I'm saying? Not a lot of people have that, I say, trait about them. So for me to have that, I feel like it's definitely something for me to share to other people, and definitely something that other people can learn from and take advantage of. What I mean by that is basically, the more you can learn something, is the more that you can put use to it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing I'd say.
I just had to tell you, I was like, man, it's always amazing when I hear somebody who could speak well, because for me, I know I wasn't always the best well spoken, and I was more like using a lot of profanity in my language, and slurring words. I'm from Florida, so like my accent was sometimes get in the way, but I found a way in meeting with new people, shaking a lot of hands as of recently, going on speaking in front of others, just finding a way to actually use my language as a tool, the way I speak as a tool to actually move people, get people to understand what I'm saying. It's so valuable. And um,
Uh,
when you said that it felt like a purpose, I can 100% agree with you on that, because I never would have imagined. If you asked me 3 years ago when we was in school, I would have never said that I wanted to motivate people for a living or help people with their lives for a living. That was never a plan of mine. But once I started doing it and I saw the impact, man, it's like
mhm.
nothing else felt better. I want to read you real quick a comment on the first video I made on YouTube that still to this day keeps me going. So my first ever video on YouTube was the power of self-discipline. Set yourself up for success. I made it it was January of 2024, so not that long ago. I got a comment. This woman, shout out to you. She said, I am here because my daughter shared your channel on her story. I have to say that you are very encouraging, even to me, a 42-year-old. Seriously, very well spoken and motivating. You gained a new subscriber today. Whenever I feel like unmotivated to do anything, I always think about that comment and it keeps me going because
Yeah, because you never know who's watching at the end of the day. You never know who you might impact just
you
by being
never
you.
know. You never know who needs to hear what you got to say. So that was amazing to me. And with the journaling thing, I want to talk a little bit about that too. I haven't made a video about this yet, but I'd like to. One of the most beautiful things to for journaling to me, some people journal to write down their goals. Some people journal for different reasons. For me, I journal for self-reflection because I truly believe that if you make a commitment to yourself to not make the same mistake twice, I think your life, the quality of your life will go up tenfold. If you say, all right, this is a mistake I made today, I'm gonna make sure this doesn't happen again, and I'm gonna do that by writing down why it happened and how I can make sure it doesn't happen again. Oh yeah, come on, you're gonna fly through life. I'm telling you, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful concept.
And also writing stuff down, like if you write down, like I would say it can also show you like where your mindset was in like in certain places. Like
Mm-hmm.
for example, if I was to write something down, if I was to write down my goals from 3 years ago, I kind of had a different mindset 3 years ago, like towards different stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if I was to reflect on them, like, okay, now that I've, I guess, grown up a little bit more, I've I have a better understanding of certain things. What's my mindset to those things now? You know what I'm saying? So you kind of can see the growth within yourself just from that alone.
Mm-hmm. Journaling is super useful. There's so many tools we could use, and journaling, I think is one of the best ones. Oh, real quick, let's say somebody said, "Yo, I love what you're doing. You're a big inspiration to me." What advice would you give them on what you did to get in the position where you are at today? If you had to summarize the actions you made and the mindset shifts that you made to somebody else to help them get further along in their journey, what would you tell them?
I would say don't be afraid to fail, but also don't be afraid to start. You have to start, and most likely, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna fail, and that's just the process. So, what got me to the mindset that I have now, and where I know for a fact it's not a matter of if, but a matter of when I will get and actually have the things that I want in life, is just not being afraid to put my foot forward and honestly just taking control of the losses, because if you let things get out of hand, your mind starts to wonder, and you start to tell yourself, oh, maybe I can't do this, maybe I can't do that. But back to kind of a little bit back to about writing it down. If you write it down, let's say I write something down in pen, I can't erase it, and I hang it up on the wall. That's gonna remind me every single day of exactly what I want to achieve, compared to if I just have it in my brain, maybe a few weeks from now, I just forget about it.
Right.
I forget completely about what I want to do and what I want to set out to achieve. But then again, it's like, okay, what can I do from here? Like a lot of people, they end up shifting their mindsets a lot because they don't have one set driven goal. And so what my goal has always been was to just be successful, be different. You know what I'm saying? Strive for greatness. That's all. And a lot of the characteristics that I have now, they implement to that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to get somewhere in life, you're not only are you gonna not only are you gonna have to fail, but you're also gonna have to try more than anybody else did. So one thing with me is I've known how many times I've failed at something, but also I tried more times than any other person did,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what allowed me to get to where I want to be. So that's a piece of advice that I would give to anyone that kind of wants to just level up and be more of a consistent figure to themselves,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
No, that for sure makes sense, bro. I appreciate you sharing that. Now, before that, pretty much wraps up any of the questions I had to ask today. But I want to give you the opportunity. Maybe if you have any questions you want to ask or anything you just want to share, feel free.
Um, I will leave with one quote though.
Okay,
Well, with one more quote. I do love my quotes
for
because
sure.
I feel like quotes. You can use quotes in like literally any situation. You can use a quote because no matter how you may be feeling in any situation. One thing I would say is don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. So, what that basically means is life isn't gonna get any easier. You just have to become better.
It's facts. That's real.
Mhm.
That's real. You just gotta become the person who can handle it.
Yeah.
I'll share a strong quote as we exit here as well. One of my favorite quotes I've heard in my entire life says, "You have no obligation to who you were 5 minutes ago." And that kind of ties to what you said earlier about the winter arc.
Mhm.
People, they think it's a season. They think, okay, New Year is gonna be different. Listen, that statement saying you have no obligation to who you were 5 minutes ago really shines light on how fast change can happen. It's not a matter of overtime or when this new year comes or a new month. It's a matter of the moment that you decide that you are no longer who you were 5 minutes ago is the moment you make change. The moment you decide, I'm no longer gonna be impatient, I'm no longer gonna get angry at little things, I'm no longer gonna waste my time and procrastinate. The moment that you decide that you are a different person, you are then a different person. And then you become the person who can acquire those things that you want. So,
Yeah. Be the change that you want to see.
exactly. Exactly. God, that's a lot of game in one podcast. I appreciate everybody. Clap it up for my boy for coming through, bro. Appreciate you coming through. This was a phenomenal episode. A lot of game. Um, like I said, if y'all want to be featured on the next on any of these segments, all you have to do is like the video, subscribe, comment, or DM me on Instagram or TikTok. All links will be down below in the description. I will also leave the links to my guys' Instagram page and everything in the description as well, so y'all can check them out if y'all want some more great insight. This just showed y'all that, man, there's enough game to go around, bro. All y'all gotta do is soak it in, take action, and change your life. I appreciate y'all for coming through. I'm gonna see y'all in the next one. Peace out.